I'm okay. I am here with Green Party of Florida co-chair Robin Harris, and Robin is also the co-chair of the Green Party of the United States Black Caucus. This is an important week. This is Juneteenth, but more than just being a celebration of the end of the horrors of slavery, but we're also going through a moment in history here where people are taking to the streets and they're demanding an end to white supremacy. They're demanding an end to police murder. They're demanding the defunding of police departments. And I'd like to know more of what you have to say on this, because I can say some stuff, but I also, one thing I say to white people is we also really have to listen. This is not our lane to be taking the leadership on.
Sure. This is, as you said, it's a lot going on. It has been going on now for a couple of weeks here in the Orange County area, or Orlando area, Florida, period. It's up on the 4th year of the Pulse Massacre. And so we have all of these emotions and these dynamics in the air too. And yes, celebrations for Juneteenth have started. So just to kind of to roll back to post George Floyd, a term that I heard and I'd like to continue using is that we've seen many George Floyd rebellions on the ground, and we do see Black, brown, working class people who have come together to organize these rebellions against systemic racism, police brutality or police terror, genocide, executions. And I have to say that some people don't like it, but I have to say that we owe the streets big time, because if it hadn't been for what we're seeing happening on the ground, the riotings, the burnings, I don't think first we wouldn't have seen the 3rd degree charges escalate to 2nd degree. I think the rebellions, I think the uprisings are probably the cause of that, the outcry. And I've kind of been pushing back lately on this narrative that wants to vilify the looters, so-called looters and rioters, when we've been looted for way over 400 years plus. We've burned, we could go on and on, the burnings of Rosewood, the Rosewood Massacre, Ocoee massacres, and those that aren't even listed in the books. There have been Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have these documents, documented and undocumented forms of brutality and terror and genocide against us, assaults against our bodies, and no one's been listening. And for whatever reason, which I'm thankful for, this triggering from those who took to the streets and said, finally, enough is enough. And I'm hoping that those demands in the streets will turn into legislative policies in our capitals.
I'd like you to talk more about the ways you think the Green Party can be part of leading this. What role do we have to play as the Green Party?
Yeah, I definitely think that being front and center in solidarity with folks who are endeavoring to make legislative policies such as defunding the police. I think that right here in Florida, there's a couple of organizations who've been trying to champion the whole repealing LABOR, which is the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights. I think that we should be connecting and standing in solidarity with those groups, and also, as probably about maybe 3 years ago, we tried to put in our platform or either our support for community-oriented policing. I think now is the perfect time that we should be leading that we should gravitate towards that and make that a platform proposals that we are a party and that we are people that stand with those who have been marginalized and terrorized for too long, and that we are part of those. We are part of the policies that say that military occupation can't be part of our neighborhoods any longer.
Right on. Because I think when a lot of people think of the Green Party, and they're not entirely wrong, they see the party as older and white. They see the party as having what you might call a purely environmental focus. And sometimes what you see in it is white people. See, I don't think it's a party that's opposed to racial justice, but it's white people talking to black people about what they as white people see as racial justice, and kind of saying, by golly, your life, it does matter to me. And I think a lot of white people have some hard times coming to terms with how problematic that is. But you and LeBeau Capadonu are black co-chairs of the Florida Party, which is not an all-black party. It's racially mixed, and a lot of white comrades in this party. And so it's an unusual position. You may be the only two black co-chairs in the whole nation. I'm not sure of that. Or if there are other Green parties that have black co-chairs, both of them, I'm not sure. There could be a few. But that sort of leaves you in what you might call a trailblazing position. So could you say more about how do we change this? Because its current incarnation is not necessarily going to appeal to a lot of young people, black and brown people. So could you talk more about how to turn that around?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be just one answer. There's many answers, but one thing we do have to push back on the white environmentalist appearance that the Green Party does have. In one of those ways can be um, being in solidarity with various organizations that that are proactive and that have black centered issues, and to be the party that that the old saying goes, people don't know how much you care until they care till they know how much you care. It's not about knowing. And so I think being very intentional about organizing around issues that affect and impact the community, and being open and, like you said earlier, to listening. I was in a situation yesterday. I just shared an article just about Joe Biden. It wasn't about to vote or not to vote. Just a shaking my head moment at one of those, at one more idiot thing that he said, and so a white woman. So you mean, her response to it was, so you mean you're going to vote for Trump? And it had nothing to do about that. But it had everything to do about that we must stop, especially white men and white women, from controlling the narrative. And that can even happen within the Green Party. There's this necessity for white men to want to speak on behalf of what they think is needed. And so she missed the whole concept of where we were coming from. And of course, it was other comrades white comrades that came and shut her down. So there's so many dynamics to what we can do, but one, I believe, uh, grouping together, being in solidarity with those who have been left out of the whole political um, thoughts, meaning not being able, folks who have been uh, left out without having a seat at the table to bring about change. The Green Party, we definitely have opportunity for people to come, and we have to be willing to step aside and allow those voices to be heard.